Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you my favorite records that are completely out of my comfort zone. So to explain a little bit, I don't buy any records personally for myself that I wouldn't listen to. So when it comes to me actually purchasing records, I only buy music that I know and that I know that I will listen to and music that I like. So I'm really only buying albums by my favorite bands and artists. So you're probably wondering then, how do I have records that are new music discoveries out of my comfort zone? And that's because throughout the years, a lot of my subscribers have actually reached out to me and sent me some music, and some of them do send me records that are outside of my comfort zone, or they send me records that they think I would like and they want me to listen to it to branch out into new genres and listen to new music. So I am very happy and grateful, and I really do appreciate that. Like, it helps me to get out of my comfort zone, because typically I'm not someone that goes out and listens to new music on my own. I'm just really comfortable with what I listen to and I just stick with what I like. Sometimes I'll branch out on my own, but not very often. So it's usually other people that are pushing me out of my comfort zone. So I did pick out my top 5. I want to share my favorites that are outside of my comfort zone, and these are in no particular order. So the first one is an album called Magic Peaks, and it's by Windows 96. This was sent to me by one of my subscribers. His name is DJ Vinyl Junkie, and he sent me almost all of the records I'm going to show in this video, but he has sent me so much EDM, so much chillwave, synthwave, and vaporwave music, and I guess that stuff kind of has been my favorite, so there are going to be a lot of similar genres in this video. So he did send me 4 albums by Windows 96, and after having them for a very long time now, this one is definitely my favorite. This record stands out to me compared to the other albums by Windows 96. The album is just immediately groovy. Like, from the opening track, this one caught my attention more than the other albums did by Windows 96. The first song on this album is called Looking Forward, and that has now become my favorite song on the album. I just love how it hooked me right from the start. So again, this album is classified as chillwave slash vaporwave slash synthwave. I had always liked that genre of music, but I was very selective with it. I didn't like every single synthwave song. I was still kind of new to the genre when I did receive this album. I think this album, Magic Peaks, is so nostalgic in terms of the sound design. There are some slower moments in the album and some more upbeat, happy moments, and it's really easy listening to, which I think is also why I like it, and it was very easy for me to get into, especially being fairly new to the synthwave genre. It was a nice album to kind of get me started. I think this makes great background music too, because it is so easy listening. Next up, I have an album called Feathers by Eagle-Eyed Tiger. This one was also sent to me by DJ Vinyl Junkie, and this one is also another synthwave album. In fact, I think it's the very first synthwave album that he ever sent me. So this, I would say, is really the first album that got me back into synthwave, or I guess got me deeper into synthwave, because like I said, I had listened to some synthwave music before, not a lot, but this one was definitely different, I think, because the synthwave I listened to was very modern and more EDM sounding, more modern EDM sounding, and this was just different, you know, a different side to chillwave and synthwave I had never heard before. I was a little skeptical at first because I was used to what I had heard before, you know, but I'm so glad I had an open mind and I ended up really liking this album. I think this one, at least compared to the Windows 96 album I just showed, I think this one is more upbeat and a little more up-tempo. And I would say in general, I do like more upbeat and up-tempo music. And I also think this album, Feathers, is a bit more melodic. I really like this album because there are some really fun lead sounds. A lot of the leads and melodies I just think are so fun to listen to. It sounds kind of like flutes or whistles or guitars. Like, it's just something really unique. It's really exciting stuff, and I love the groovy bass lines on this record too. Next, I have the album Cloud Vibes by E-Live. I still don't know if it's pronounced E-Live or E-Live. I should probably look that up. But yeah, again, I've never heard of any of these artists or bands that I mentioned in this video. Like, it really is new to me. This album is very similar to the last 2 I showed you guys. Again, it's another synthwave, chillwave, vaporwave record. Honestly, they all kind of do sound the same, but each record is really unique and it does stand out. What I like about Cloud Vibes is that it's very, very funky. It's got more house or funk kind of vibes to it. It's got a lot of pianos, like fun bouncy piano chords you would hear in funk or disco music. There's also really groovy bass lines and really cool guitar riffs. Like again, the very first song on this album really hooked me and I loved it. It was a more funky sounding synthwave song. And this record also has vocals. The other two records I showed before this didn't really have any that I remember, but this one does have vocals in almost every song, I think. So that was also something that made it really unique. The first song is called You Got Me, and that song also has become my favorite. I just love the funkiness of it combined with synthwave. It does have a lot of retro, funky disco 80s vibes to it. Like this record is so nostalgic. I think it came out in 2022, but it feels like the 80s or like a modern twist or a modern take on 80s music in that synthwave world. I love it. This album is called Imaginary Pathways, and I do have to read who it's by because I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it's pronounced Lynn Shevin. I don't know how to say that. Virtual Plaza. This record is actually very new to me. I got this a couple of weeks ago actually. This one is also from DJ Vinyl Junkie. I did play it a few times just to really get used to it because it is a little bit out there for me. This record is techno trance. I do like a little bit of techno, a little bit of trance, but I would say in general it is outside of my comfort zone. I think some songs have a little bit of a synthwave touch to them, but again it's more of that techno trance kind of stuff. But I honestly really enjoyed it. I think there is some really experimental kind of stuff on this album, but there are also some really dreamy sounds, very peaceful, relaxing kind of stuff. But then like the next song would be some really heavy techno trance song. Like I like the variety and how it kind of goes back and forth between that. So there is some slower stuff and some faster stuff. I do like the upbeat, up-tempo stuff and also the slower more mellow downbeat or down-tempo kind of stuff. I also think this album makes good background music. The slower, dreamy, relaxing songs I could almost fall asleep to. And I also like how a lot of the songs on this album are over 5 minutes. There's some very long songs on here reaching closer to 10 minutes, so that does give a song enough time to go through a whole movement, different parts, and I just like the flow of that. And that's also outside of my comfort zone. Normally I only listen to songs that are typical length for radio, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. So sitting and listening to a song that's like 8 minutes long was so outside of my comfort zone. But I really liked the experience. And last but not least, I have an album from Vinyl Moon. This one is called Lost in Sound. Vinyl Moon is a company that does record compilations, so they release albums that are compilation records. So they'll take songs from emerging bands or smaller indie bands and artists and they'll put them all into a compilation record. So I do like the whole concept behind the company Vinyl Moon, and they did reach out to me and send me 2 records, and this one is my favorite of the 2, and I like this one more because this one I would say is more EDM. The other record they sent me was more like pop rock kind of stuff, but I do think this one is my favorite of the 2. Ironically enough, this album actually starts off with a song by Eagle Eyed Tiger, who I mentioned earlier. They had the album Feathers, and this compilation record starts with a song by them called Stasis, so I think that's a cool connection I didn't even really realize until now making this video. So this compilation record also has some synthwave and chillwave in it, but I just like how overall this one is EDM, although it's not the typical EDM that I listen to. I mostly listen to house music, but this one, like I said, has just different genres in it that really helped branch me out into some sides of EDM that I'm not familiar with. There are some slow experimental songs on this album as well, like slow piano songs. There are also some chill, more down-tempo songs, and those ones I think are also good for background music. And there are also some really unique sounds throughout the entire album, like the sound design is insane. They really did a good job handpicking these songs to go on this compilation. And there's also a few songs on here, one in particular, I can't remember the name right now. It's more like an ambient, atmospheric lo-fi song. Just really unique stuff that I haven't really heard before. At least when they sent it to me, I had no idea what this stuff was. I had no idea who these bands or artists were. It did take a little bit of time to grow on me, like with most of these albums in this video, but after giving it a chance, I did end up really liking it. And from what I remember, this album doesn't have any vocals on it either. It's all like completely instrumentals for the most part. So those were my favorite new music discoveries. Even though I didn't really discover them myself, other people recommended this music to me and sent it to me on vinyl, which was such an amazing experience. I love it. Very grateful for everyone who has sent me music because I really do like stepping outside of my comfort zone. Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to find this stuff on my own, but I thought it would be fun to share my favorites, especially now that I've had these records for a couple of years. In the comments, let me know if you guys have ever branched out into new genres. Let me know how that experience went for you, and let me know what are your favorite new music discoveries on vinyl. Let me know if you guys have any records outside of your comfort zone that you ended up liking. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!